welcome to something a little bit different, a little bit special. To celebrate the fact that there's only 6 days until the start of the Premier League season, I thought, what better to do than a Premier League predictions video? I'll show you who's going to finish where in my estimations. We'll revisit it in 9 months, I think. I don't know, whenever the season finishes. And we'll see how stupid I am. See how wrong I've got it. We'll give myself a little score. And we might even do one the following year. It could be a tradition. How wonderful. And obviously, to do a Premier League predictions video, we're going to do so in the shirt of the best team. In the Yeovil area, it is the shirt of Yeovil. Of course it is. But before we jump into it, I'm going to do it on this screen. I never do it on this screen. I usually do it after the intro, but we kind of don't have an intro for this. So just do me the favour of liking, subscribing, flicking the bell, doing all that goodness, and I greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, we'll scoot on over to the other screen. Here's the table. I can't see it, there's nothing here, but we've got the table, and we've got all the teams in there ready for me to just unhide the little block and show you what's going on. It's hard to judge from realistically Europe all the way down to about 13th. There's a lot of teams of a very similar calibre, but I'm just giving you my feels, my thoughts, and then we'll plonk them all in the table and see what you think. So with 11th place, I know I'm going to get some straight off the bat, but I'm going with Leeds. Mostly because I know they had a fantastic season last year, came out the gates, finished 9th, so getting into the top half on your first season is brilliant. Obviously Wolves did even better the previous season, I think it was, but they've done fantastic. They've got a brilliant manager under them. I know there's a little bit of beef between Villa and Leeds, and I don't know if that was predating the letting us score a goal fiasco that happened in the Championship, but I think they'll do well. I don't think there's any danger of them being relegated. They've made a few decent signings. They've confirmed Jack Harrison and brought in Junior Firpo, who is a very good left back and he's got experience working at Barcelona, obviously. So I think they'll be good. I'm not sure they'll meet up where they did last year, but I'm willing to be surprised. In 12th, got another team that's dropped down the table. This time, the team that finished in 6th place. So, obviously, if you know it, top of your head, it's West Ham. You can see it now as well. I know they've made a few decent signings. Ariola's fantastic. Brilliant goalkeeper. He's played at Real Madrid recently. It's come from Paris Saint-Germain on a free. Good signing. The other players they've brought in, they're like a Craig Dawson. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to be a game changer for him. The issue with them, I think, is the fact it almost seems that the board have kind of just lost interest, stupidly, at this point. There's talk of Ferdinand linked with a takeover. Things just don't seem compos mentis with them. They don't seem good. Along with the fact that they've got the European group stages, they've got extra football under their belt, they've not really strengthened the team a lot. I think they might see a little bit of struggle from that extra games in Europe. Our team in 13th, I'm going to put my neck on the line a little bit. Trusting the manager, who is a fantastic manager. I've gone with Bournemouth. I know they finished 16th last year. They've obviously lost Ben White. He's gone to Arsenal for a large fee. They've brought in a decent player over from Salzburg. A few other players, but there's no one really that kind of grabs your eye, grabs your attention. But I've got a feeling that, obviously with the players like Lamptey, there's quite a few decent players in their squad. And obviously a brilliant manager. I think he'll do good. It will get him up towards mid-table. And then I think Potter might say goodbye at the end of the season. In 14th, I've got a London-based team. The same London-based team that finished 14th last year. Anyone that's like memorising the table from last year, you'll know it's Palace. I know with Roy retiring last year, obviously they're going to lose a little bit of stability there, along with the fact that they've released about 4 million players. Names that have been released, there's no one really that you're like, ooh, they're probably really going to miss them. And they've brought in Patrick Vieira. I know he struggled over in France, got a relegation, that's not the word, it got sacked, but they have brought in some really good players. Mark Guehi, not sure how to pronounce his name, and Joachim Anderson, I know, really good players. Michael Elish as well, is quite good. So I think they'll do well. I think they'll be safe once more. Next, we've got a team from the South Coast. I mean, realistically, there's only 2, I think, and one of them's already showing, so you know it's Southampton. Still got Hassan Hutel at the throne. Throne? It's not what they're called. In charge, managing, whatever you want to call it. It's a very strange Southampton team. They've lost quite a few decent players. Obviously, Ings going over to Villa, Lamina, and Hoyt. Hoyt's probably not too much of a loss. Angus Gunn, I think they're probably going to regret letting go because he's a decent goalie. I think he'll do well at Norwich. It just depends which Southampton they're going to get. Are they going to get the team that are conceding 9? Or are they going to get the Southampton that we know and love? Loves a stretch. I'm not particularly inspired by their signings either. Romain Perrault, Theo Walcott. I don't know. I don't think it's good times for them. I think they might be in danger, but I think they're saved by the fact that there's weaker teams this year. We have now one of our first promoted teams. Bit of a spoiler for you that they're not all going straight back down, in my opinion. This one may be built more out of hope than anything, but I do believe they've got mentality to stay up. I don't think they've necessarily got a Premier League quality squad, but they've definitely got the mentality and the togetherness to do so. But when you've got players like David Raya, Pontus Jansson, and then you've got Mbeumo and Tony up top, I don't think that Brentford will get relegated, but it depends what Thomas Frank can do with them. But I think they've got kind of that play style to stay up, rather than just sitting on heels and just defending and just kind of panicking your way through a season more than anything. I hope to see them stay up, and I've got them in 16th. And the last of the teams I expect to stay safe, although this one I think will be quite close, and it will come as quite of a surprise. Maybe, maybe not. They finished 12th last year. I've got Newcastle. I do think they'll stay up, mostly in part to Dubravka, Shah and Lascelles. That back three is just brilliant. But I think they just lack so much elsewhere around the pitch. They've got St. Maxim, who can just pull a magic trick out of a hat every now and again when they need to get them a few spare points. But I can't really see them putting up much of a fight. But I do think they'll stay safe this year. And I wonder if Newcastle will treat us to another one of their specialties in just a random sacking. Here's where it gets tasty. We've got the relegation teams. We've got the Championship winners, Norwich City. Daniel Farke is a brilliant manager, but I just don't know if they've got what it takes. I know they came up last time and they lost quite dramatically and just went straight down. But they have brought in players like Rashika, Gunn, so they have brought in a few good players who I think could do things for them. Along with Billy Gilmore on loan, we all saw what he did at the World Cup. If you've lost a player like Buendia, and the creativity and the sort of spark that he brings, and I just can't see that they've replaced it, I think they're going to struggle. Hopefully Rashika will do that for them, but I think he's more kind of like a speed merchant, get the ball down the wing. Hopefully they can stay up. At whose expense? In 18th, I've got one of the teams that have struggled quite a lot over the last few years in the Premier League. I think they've hit the point where they're not going to be able to stay up anymore. They've brought in a few decent players of Burnley, but I see there's nothing inspiring. There's nothing really there that I'm thinking, right, they've made a change. They're going to step on this year. And I'm not sure whether Sean Dyche will still be there at the end of the year. Be that if they've sacked him or if he's moved on to something else. But they do every year somehow manage to stay up. So again, with Norwich, maybe they'll do so, but I can't see it this year. And the team that I believe are going to finish bottom are the perennial sackers from the Pozzo family, Watford. They have got a few really good players, so I think player-wise, they're definitely stronger than Burnley. But they're never going to have that stability because their board just love sacking people whenever they can. You've got the players like Will Hughes, João Pedro, Ismail Assar that's been there for a good few years. They've brought in Josh King on a free. Juraj Kuka's very good, quite old, but very, very good player. And the world's oldest goalkeeper, but still utterly brilliant in Ben Foster. So I would like to see some success from them, but I can't see it. They just love sacking people left, right and centre, and it unsteadies the ship. Hopefully the board will show some confidence, but I just don't have confidence in the board to have confidence in their manager. So that's why I've got them at the foot of my table. In 10th position, I've got a nice controversial one. I've got Arsenal. They have a decent manager in Arteta. Obviously, he's learnt from Guardiola. You've brought in some good players with Tavares, Lokonga, Ben White, obviously brilliant. You've got rid of the likes of David Luiz, who's just a calamity waiting to happen every half an hour. You've got good players, fantastic forwards. There's something that's just not there. There's the expectation that Arsenal are going to be challenging for the title every year. And it's just not realistic at the moment. I think you just need to realise, to take a step back, kind of rebuild your team with realistic players and then build. Go from there. and strengthen your team, because you should have the funds to do so. You've got a very rich owner, but I know he doesn't like to put his hands in his pockets very often. I just don't think this year it's going to be kind of hitting the ground running. I'm willing to put my hands up if I'm wrong, but I think 10th place for them is probably doing them a disservice, but I can't see challenging for Europe at all this year. In 9th place, I've got Everton. I know they had a good season last year. They've obviously had issues, should we say, with their vice-captain. Legal issues, which I'm not going to comment on. Then you've lost Carlo, because he went over to manage Real Madrid. I know they've brought in Rafa Benitez, fantastic manager. Is it going to rock the ship? I think it will. Which Pickford are they going to have in goal? Are they going to have the Pickford for England, who was sublime during the Euros? Or are they going to have the Pickford that was breaking Van Dijk's knee in half? I don't see a lot in their team that's going to make me think that they're amazing and that they're going to be destroying teams. And I just don't see anything from the signings either. Townsend, Begovic and Gray, they're good players, but they're not anything that's going to take them up to that next step, in my opinion. So I have them in 9th. Maybe they'll drop down even further and see the likes of Arsenal, Leeds and West Ham ahead of them. I think they'll do well. They've got a good manager and a good squad, but nothing really that's catching my eye. In 8th position, I've got a West Midlands team that doesn't play in claret and blue. I've gone with Wolverhampton. I could see them improving from where they were last year, finishing 13th. It was a little bit of a shaky year under Nuno. He lost his job, obviously. They've made a few decent signings, confirming Aït-Nouri, a really exciting loanee of Trincao as well, or Trincao, whatever you call him. A swap over of the goalies, bringing Jose Sá in from Olympiacos. I think they'll do really good. They've got a good manager under him. But I think this year will be a good year for Wolverhampton, and I can see them challenging for Europe, but not quite getting there. 7th place, we've got another team from the West Midlands, and it's the greatest team of all. I don't know how this year's going to go. I'm hoping we'll challenge for Europe this year. I don't know if it will happen. I don't think it will. We've made a fantastic, 3 signings? Obviously, we've lost Grealish, who was basically the team last year. I think it was the right decision for him to move. I don't hold any sort of grudge or any malice against him, and I don't know why some of the Villa fans have done so. Yes, he's a Villa boy, and he's been with us for, 19 years or something stupid like that, but it was right for him to move. We're in a good position. We played okay when he wasn't there, but obviously we'd missed a lot, and I think our over-reliance on one player is dangerous, very, very dangerous. What if, on the opening game of the season, someone broke his leg? We could get relegated. You can't have that reliance on one player. It was like sending Portugal to a Euros without Ronaldo. There's just not the same team, so you need to stop that reliance there. If selling him obviously results in us doing so, then that'll be good. But it depends how it all links in. We've kept the same manager. Obviously, John Terry's gone as well. But he's still got his mate Richard knocking about. I think it'll be a good season for us. I can't see how this first one's going to line in without Jack. I'm hoping we hit the ground running. Leon Bailey, I'm really excited to see what he can do. Buendia, we know what he can do in the Championship. And even in the Premiership, when Norwich were up here last, it was like the 4th highest creator, behind Grealish, De Bruyne and someone else. I didn't catch who the third one was. He's obviously got that in him and in his locker. And to bring in Danny Ings to either rotate or play behind Ollie Watkins is fantastic as well. So it's an exciting 10 months for us. 6th position, I've gone with Tottenham Hotspur. It's a bit of a funny one, because at this point, Kane hasn't moved. Is he going to move? Probably. If he does, and Tottenham don't invest that money wisely, which they've done in the past, a la Bale, then they could be a hell of a lot lower. They could even be dropping below Arsenal. And I think we'll realise that they weren't Tottenham, they were Harry Kane FC and have been for the last 5 or 6 years. He could stay, which I think would be a shame for him, but it would be very important for Tottenham. I think even with Kane, I can't see them pushing in the Champions League. I can see him in Europe, but I can't see him in the Champions League. If Kane does leave, I can see them dropping quite a bit lower than they are in my estimations. The team that I've got in 5th, you don't really hear much from them. They kind of fly under the radar and they do what they do, and they do it quietly. And that's what I like about them. They were really unfortunate last year to lose out on the Champions League places, but they were kind of flying a little bit too close to the sun. So I have Leicester in 5th place. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near dangerous, should we say, as they were last year. I don't think they'll be pushing 2nd, 3rd, 4th this year, because the teams above them I think have got their together. I think they are definitely probably the strongest from the others that I've seen on this list. I can't put them anywhere below any of the other teams. And Patson Daka, I'd like to see what he can do. And Boubakary Soumaré, decent player as well. It'd be good to see what Leicester get up to, if they can hold a Maddison as well. And likewise, if they don't, they have reinvested brilliantly over the years when they've lost the likes of Mahrez and Kante. And having Brendan Rodgers as well, it's good signs for him. I'd like to see him break into the top 4, but as I've said on a few of these, I can't really see it happening. In 4th place, I've gone with Liverpool. I think they're the first of the teams that are going to be qualifying for the Champions League. I can't see him challenging for the title this year. I think there's a bit of harmony gone in the team. It's not all quite hugs and kisses as it used to be. I still think Klopp's a fantastic manager. But the way they play and the fact that they don't have a squad with the depth of the likes of Man City, Man U, Chelsea to a degree, who, as I'm sure you figured out, haven't appeared yet. I can't see them challenging, especially with obviously Europe and the amount of games that they play. They've lost Wijnaldum as well, which is a big blow. They have got Van Dijk back this season, so that could be important. I think there are definitely a few more signings that need to be made, but I don't know if they've got the money to do so. The team I've got in 3rd haven't really made a signing this year. They've got a very, very strong squad. If you just look at the 3 players I've got on the screen in front of me, being Pulisic, Werner and Hudson-Odoi, Chelsea are a very strong team. I know they're chasing Lukaku, and if they do, that'll be a brilliant signing. Hopefully, if they bring some youngsters in from now on, they'll realise not to just flog them and throw them in the bin straight away. What they were doing towards the end of last year, obviously the Champions League win was massive. The team are going to be buoyant from that. Fantastic young players. Again, I mentioned Pulisic once more, Mount. The defence are all quite young as well. It's exciting times for Chelsea. I think they'll do well. I think they'll challenge for the title this year, but I just don't think they'll have enough to get across the line. For the top 2, I have both Man City and Man U. But I've got Man U taking the title. Man City, obviously they've just got Grealish, but you've lost Aguero. Their only real striker is Gabriel Jesus, who I've even seen linked away, which just sounds foolish. I know they're chasing Kane. If they get Kane, probably a different story. I just think, I don't know what, I just don't know. I just don't have a feeling. Like, talking about it and trying to go through and explain why I've got Man City 2nd, I can't explain it. Because their team is strong. Very, very strong. Their manager is fantastic. And the amount of money they've got to spend is sickening. I just don't think they'll get it this year. And I think it's not the fact that I don't think Man City is strong enough. It's the fact that I think Man U have just done some amazing business. But it'll be the first time in many years that Man U are going to do it. But I think they do. I've got them. I back them. The back 3, which is the issue. You've got Varane. You've got Maguire. Solid, fantastic centre-backs. A World Cup winner, a Euro finalist. The way Maguire plays is just beautiful. He's a big fat head as well on the corners. Lovely to see. Varane, fantastic. He's won stupid amounts of things, and he's only 28, which is just silly. The issue for them, I think, maybe for goalkeeper, is Henderson going to step up, play regularly, week in, week out? Are they still going to drop back and rely on De Gea? I think if they do give Henderson that berth and he's got those 2 players in front of him and they can have that communication, I think he'll be fantastic. Obviously, they've got, what is he called? Roberto Carlos on the left. Right side, you've got pretty defensive, solid right back in, what's his face? Wan-Bissaka. And their attack is just a bit disgusting. It's just a bit good. And it's a bit exciting to watch. Rashford, Cavani, Pogba, Fernandes, Greenwood, now Sancho. I'm not particularly happy with myself because I've never really been a supporter of Man U. I've definitely never been a supporter. I think what they're going to bring is going to be impressive this season. So I've got them to win the title. What do you think? How wrong do you think I am? If we're scoring this by points, obviously we won in a goal score at the end of the year. How many do we think I'll get? I'm hoping to 0, of course. Table's going to look like that. We know what's happening. Maybe I'll have 2 points out and Villa can finish 5th. But if you have enjoyed that, do me a favour of like and subscribe, as I mentioned earlier, but it would be greatly appreciated. Pop in the comments what you think. Do your 1 to 20 in the comments. Pop at me on Twitter. My description has my Twitter link in there. But no, I hope you've appreciated it, and I hope you like the video. And it's been an absolute treat having you here.